A human vessel appeared in a forbidden zone, and no one knew how it got there. The alarm bells rang across the deep space station at exactly 3 in the morning. Scanner Officer Velth 9 had been watching the empty screens for 6 hours when something impossible appeared on his display. His crystal body glowed bright blue with shock as he stared at the readings. There was a ship in the Void Nexus. This was not supposed to happen. The Void Nexus was the most dangerous place in known space. For 10,000 years, no one had dared to go there. Ships that tried to enter simply disappeared. The space itself was broken, twisted by an ancient war that had torn holes in reality itself. Velth 9 checked his instruments 3 times. Then he checked them again. The readings were clear. A small vessel was floating in the heart of the forbidden zone, transmitting what looked like distress signals. His hands shook as he reached for the emergency communicator. Within minutes, every major government in the galaxy would know about this impossible discovery. The ship was strange. It was only 200 meters long, which made it tiny compared to modern galactic vessels. The scanner readings showed it was made of simple metals and basic materials. No advanced quantum shields, no reality warping drives, just primitive fusion engines and what looked like chemical rockets. Most shocking of all, there were life signs aboard. Commander Zephys Ka received the emergency message while patrolling the outer edges of the Nexus boundary. She was a tall, blue-skinned warrior from the Arctian system, known for her steady nerves and quick thinking. But when she read the report, even she felt her heart skip a beat. "This has to be a mistake," she muttered to her navigation officer. "Nothing can survive in the Nexus. Nothing." Her ship, the Star Guardian, was one of the most advanced vessels in the Galactic Council fleet. Even with all its protective systems, it would last maybe 10 minutes inside the Void Nexus, before the twisted space-time tore it apart. Yet something was in there, alive and sending signals. The emergency protocols kicked in automatically. Red alerts flashed across 40 star systems. Emergency meetings were called on dozens of worlds. The discovery of any ship in the Void Nexus was serious enough, but a ship with living beings aboard was unprecedented. Within hours, the Galactic Council's emergency session began. Representatives from 47 different species gathered in the Great Chamber on Central Station. The room buzzed with nervous energy as translators worked to keep up with the flood of different languages and communication methods. The Etherians, beings of pure energy who appeared as shimmering lights, spoke first. Their spokesperson, a golden glow that pulsed with each word, expressed immediate curiosity about the mysterious vessel. "We must investigate," the Etherian said through the translator. "This could be the discovery of the century. A new species that can somehow survive the Nexus energies." The Corvin delegation disagreed strongly. These warrior beings, covered in thick armor-like skin, believed the ship posed a threat to all known civilization. "If something can survive in the Nexus, it could be dangerous beyond our understanding," growled General Thorak Prime, his red eyes glowing with suspicion. "We should destroy it before it escapes the Forbidden Zone." The debate continued for hours. Some species wanted to study the ship immediately. Others demanded it be quarantined or destroyed. The ancient Shapers, oldest members of the council, sat in silence. Their snake-like bodies coiled around their floating platforms as they listened but said nothing. Finally, Admiral Kestrel 7 stood up. The cybernetic being's mechanical voice cut through the arguing voices. "We need someone to go in there and make contact, someone experienced with dangerous situations." All eyes turned to Captain Thane Oryx, who had been sitting quietly in the observer section. Thane was known throughout the galaxy as either the bravest or the most foolish captain alive. He had volunteered for missions that no sane being would accept. He had survived encounters with space pirates, explored unstable star systems, and once even landed on a planet that existed in 3 dimensions at once. "I'll do it," Thane said simply, standing up from his seat. He was humanoid in appearance, with gray skin and 4 arms, but his eyes held a spark that marked him as someone who thrived on the impossible. The Council quickly approved his mission. His ship, the Quantum Dawn, was equipped with the most advanced protective systems available. Scientists had worked for decades to develop shields that could resist the reality warping effects of the Void Nexus. They had never been tested in actual Nexus conditions, but they were the best protection anyone had ever created. As Thane prepared for the mission, more information about the mysterious vessel came in. Long-range scanners revealed details that made the situation even stranger. The ship appeared to be made entirely of conventional materials. No exotic matter, no quantum crystalline hull plating, no energy fields that bent the laws of physics. It was built like ships from the early days of space travel, when civilizations were just learning to leave their home planets. Dr. Keelan Voss, the Council's leading expert on xenobiology, studied the life sign readings with growing amazement. "These beings are completely unknown to our databases," she reported to the emergency committee. "Their biosignatures don't match any recorded species. They appear to be carbon-based, but their cellular structure is unlike anything we've seen before." The mystery deepened when more detailed scans revealed the ship's movement patterns. It wasn't drifting helplessly through the nexus. It was moving under its own power, slowly making its way toward the edge of the forbidden zone. Whatever was piloting the vessel seemed to know where it was going. Captain Thane launched the Quantum Dawn exactly 24 hours after the first detection. As his ship approached the boundary of the void nexus, his instruments began showing the familiar signs of space-time distortion. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist at the edge of the forbidden zone. "Beginning approach to target vessel," Thane reported to Council Command. "Protective systems are holding steady." The view through his ship's main display was disturbing. Space inside the nexus didn't look right. Stars appeared in the wrong positions. Colors shifted randomly. Sometimes it looked like there were two suns in the same spot, or like empty space was folding in on itself. The alien vessel became visible as Thane's ship crossed into the outer edge of the nexus. It was even stranger up close. The hull was scarred and blackened, as if it had been through some kind of battle or accident. Strange writing covered the sides, symbols that matched nothing in any galactic database. But most remarkable of all, the ship appeared to be completely undamaged by the nexus energies that should have torn it apart. "This is impossible," whispered Dr. Kieran V, Thane's science officer. "The readings show they've been in here for at least several days. Nothing can survive that long in the nexus. Nothing." As the Quantum Dawn moved closer to the alien vessel, Thane made a decision that would change galactic history forever. He opened a communication channel and transmitted a simple mathematical sequence, the universal sign for peaceful contact used throughout known space. The response came immediately. The alien ship transmitted back the same sequence, then added more complex mathematical patterns. Someone aboard that impossible vessel was not only alive, but intelligent and willing to communicate. The galaxy was about to meet humanity for the first time. Captain Thane stared at his communication display as mathematical signals flowed back and forth between his ship and the mysterious vessel. The alien ship was responding to every transmission, proving that whoever was inside understood complex mathematics and wanted to communicate. "They're using basic geometric principles now," reported Dr. Kieran V, studying the incoming signals. "Look at this pattern. It's showing us the relationship between circles and squares. They're trying to establish that they understand universal mathematical concepts." The communication continued for over an hour. Simple math led to more complex equations. The aliens demonstrated they understood physics, chemistry, and even some basic engineering principles. Most importantly, they showed no signs of hostility. "Council Command, this is Captain Thane," he spoke into his communicator. "The alien vessel is definitely inhabited by intelligent beings. They appear peaceful and eager to communicate. Requesting permission to make physical contact." The response from Council Command came quickly. "Permission granted, Captain, but maintain full defensive systems. We still don't know what we're dealing with." Thane carefully maneuvered the Quantum Dawn alongside the alien vessel. Up close, the strange ship looked even more primitive. The hull was covered with small impact craters and burn marks. Several sections showed signs of emergency repairs made with materials that didn't quite match the original construction. "They've been through something," observed Commander Yala 8, Thane's security chief. "That ship has seen battle or maybe some kind of accident." The alien vessel extended a docking tube toward the Quantum Dawn. The technology was simple but functional. Atmospheric readings showed the aliens breathed oxygen and nitrogen, just like many galactic species. "At least we won't need full environmental suits," Thane said as he prepared for the first face-to-face meeting with the unknown species. The airlock opened with a soft hiss of equalizing pressure. 3 figures stepped through the docking tube into the Quantum Dawn. Captain Thane got his first look at the beings who had somehow survived the impossible journey through the void nexus. They were bipedal, standing about average height compared to most galactic species. They had 2 arms, 2 legs, and heads positioned at the top of their bodies. Their skin was a pale pinkish color, and they had hair growing from the tops of their heads. Most unusual were their forward-facing eyes, which suggested these beings had evolved as hunters rather than prey animals. The lead alien removed what appeared to be a primitive helmet, revealing a female face with intelligent brown eyes. She looked around the airlock with obvious curiosity but no fear. When she spoke, her voice was clear and strong. "Hello, I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Perseverance. We come in peace." The words meant nothing to Thane, but the translator system immediately began working on the alien language. Within minutes, basic communication was possible. "I am Captain Thane of the Galactic Council vessel Quantum Dawn," he replied through the translator. "You have entered what we call the Void Nexus, a forbidden region of space. How did you survive?" Captain Chen looked confused. "Forbidden region? We detected some unusual gravitational readings, but our sensors showed it was safe to enter. We've been exploring what our astronomers call dark space." Dark space. The term made Dr. Kieran Five's instruments chirp with surprise. The aliens came from a region that galactic civilization had written off as empty and lifeless. "You are from outside known galactic territory," Thane explained. "Your species is not in any of our databases. This is first contact between your people and the Galactic Council." The human captain's eyes widened with surprise and excitement. "First contact? You mean there are other intelligent species out here?" The question shocked everyone aboard the Quantum Dawn. These beings had developed space travel without knowing that the galaxy was full of intelligent life. Captain Chen introduced her 2 crew members, Dr. James Rodriguez, their science officer, and engineer Lisa Park. All 3 humans showed the same combination of curiosity and amazement as they learned about galactic civilization. "How many species are in this Galactic Council?" Dr. Rodriguez asked through the improving translator system. "Currently 47 member species," Dr. Kieran Five replied, "with hundreds more that we have contact with but who are not full members." The humans exchanged glances of pure wonder. Engineer Park spoke up for the first time. "We thought we were alone. Earth scientists have been searching for signs of intelligent life for centuries. We never found any." "Earth is your homeworld?" Thane asked. "Where is it located?" Captain Chen showed them star charts from the Perseverance's navigation system. The location made Dr. Kieran Five check her galactic maps 3 times. "That's in the dead sector," she said with amazement. "We've had that region marked as uninhabitable for thousands of years. The star systems there are too far from galactic trade routes and too poor in resources to support advanced life." "It might be poor in rare materials," Captain Chen said with a slight smile, "but it's rich enough to support human civilization. We have over 8 billion people on Earth, and we've established colonies on 12 other worlds in our local system group. 8 billion members of an unknown species, living in a region of space that galactic civilization had ignored. The implications were staggering." Dr. Kieran Five ran detailed bioscanners over the 3 humans with their permission. The results were unlike anything she had ever seen. "Your cellular structure is completely unique," she told them. "You're carbon-based life forms like many galactic species, but your neural patterns are fascinating. Your brains seem to process information in ways that bypass several standard psychological limitations." "What kind of limitations?" Dr. Rodriguez asked, his scientific curiosity clearly activated. "Well, for instance, most galactic species develop severe anxiety when exposed to the reality distortions in regions like the Void Nexus. The psychological pressure usually causes mental breakdown within minutes, yet you've been in here for days without any apparent stress." The humans looked around at each other. Captain Chen spoke up. "We noticed some strange visual effects when we entered this region. Space looked a bit twisted and our instruments showed some unusual readings, but nothing that seemed dangerous." "Nothing dangerous?" Thane couldn't hide his amazement. "This region has destroyed hundreds of ships over the millennia. The space-time distortions here can tear apart starship hulls and drive crews insane." Engineer Park pulled out a small device and showed them readings from the Perseverance's sensors. "Our instruments did detect unusual gravitational fields and some electromagnetic anomalies, but our ship's hull remained structurally sound, and none of the crew experienced any psychological effects." The conversation continued for several hours as both sides exchanged basic information. The humans learned about galactic civilization, trade networks, and the thousands of worlds that supported intelligent life. The galactic crew learned about Earth, human technology, and the remarkable fact that humans had independently developed faster than light travel. "Your FTL drive is completely different from anything we use," Dr. Kieran 5 observed after studying the human technical specifications. "It's primitive compared to our quantum fold systems, but it's also incredibly robust. Your design could probably keep working even if most of its components were damaged." "We built it to last," Captain Chen said with obvious pride. "Human engineering focuses on reliability over efficiency. We'd rather have systems that work under bad conditions than systems that work perfectly under ideal conditions." As the cultural exchange continued, Captain Thane made regular reports back to Council Command. The news that a new species had been discovered spread rapidly through galactic communication networks. The reaction was mixed. Scientific communities expressed excitement about studying a species that could survive Nexus conditions. Military leaders worried about the strategic implications of beings who could travel through regions that stopped conventional galactic ships. Most concerning were the questions that no one could answer. If humans could survive in the Void Nexus, what else might they be capable of? And what other secrets might be hidden in the galaxy's forbidden zones, waiting for someone immune to their dangers? Captain Chen and her crew were eager to see more of galactic civilization, but their ship needed repairs after the journey through dark space. More importantly, they needed to find a way to contact Earth and report their historic discovery. The galaxy was about to change forever, and it all started with 3 humans who had wandered into a place where they should have died. A human vessel appeared in a forbidden zone, and no one knew how it got there. News of humanity's discovery spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within days, every major government, scientific institution, and news network had received reports about the impossible aliens who could survive in the Void Nexus. Dr. Keelan Voss, the galaxy's leading expert on xenobiology, arrived at the meeting point aboard her research vessel Scientific Inquiry just 3 days after first contact. She brought with her the most advanced biological analysis equipment available, eager to understand how humans could do what no other known species could manage. "I need to run detailed scans on your crew," she explained to Captain Chen through the now sophisticated translation system. "Your ability to survive Nexus conditions could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and biology." Captain Chen agreed readily. The 3 humans submitted to hours of medical examinations, brain scans, and psychological tests. Dr. Keelan Voss worked with growing amazement as the results came in. "Your neural architecture is unlike anything I've studied," she told Dr. Rodriguez, who had volunteered for the most detailed scans. "Most species process reality through multiple psychological filters. These filters help us make sense of complex information, but they also create blind spots and limitations." "What kind of limitations?" Dr. Rodriguez asked, genuinely curious about the alien scientist's findings. "Well, when most galactic species encounter paradoxes or impossible situations, our minds try to resolve them by ignoring contradictory information. This protects us from psychological stress, but it also means we can't function in environments where reality itself is contradictory." She pulled up brain scan images, showing the differences between human and galactic neural patterns. "Your minds don't filter out contradictory information the same way. Instead, you seem to accept multiple possibilities simultaneously. This allows you to function normally even when surrounded by impossible conditions." Engineer Park looked at the brain scans with interest. "So our brains are wired differently?" "Fundamentally differently. Most galactic species evolved in stable environments where consistent rules applied. Your species appears to have evolved in conditions that required constant adaptation to changing circumstances." Captain Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Earth has always been a challenging world. Natural disasters, climate changes, resource scarcity. Humans learn to adapt quickly or die. The psychological testing revealed even more remarkable traits. Humans showed unusual resistance to mental manipulation, seemed naturally curious about dangerous situations, and displayed problem-solving approaches that other species found disturbing. You actually become more creative under stress," Dr. Keelan Voss reported after reviewing the test results. "Most species become more rigid and conservative when faced with threats. Humans do the opposite." Meanwhile, Captain Thane had been working with human engineers to understand their technology. The Perseverance was a marvel of practical design. Every system had backup systems, Critical components were built to survive massive damage. The entire ship could function even if half its systems failed. Your approach to engineering is completely backwards from galactic standards, Thane observed while touring the human vessel. We design for maximum efficiency and performance. You design for maximum survival. Efficiency doesn't matter if you're dead, Engineer Park replied simply. Human space is dangerous. We've learned to build ships that can handle the unexpected. The galactic engineers were particularly fascinated by human computers. Instead of quantum crystalline processors that could handle billions of calculations instantly, humans used simple electronic systems that were nearly indestructible. These are so primitive, said technician Zor-12, examining a human computer component. But they're also completely immune to quantum interference and electromagnetic attack. Our advanced systems are actually more vulnerable than your simple ones. As the cultural and technical exchange continued, both sides learned surprising things about each other. The humans were amazed by galactic technology, but they also pointed out weaknesses that galactic engineers had never considered. Your ships are incredible, Captain Chen said during a tour of the Quantum Dawn. But what happens if your quantum fold drive fails? Do you have backup propulsion? The question made Captain Thane uncomfortable. Galactic ships were so reliable that backup systems were considered unnecessary. If something went wrong with advanced galactic technology, crews usually just called for rescue rather than trying to fix things themselves. Human ships are designed to get home even if everything goes wrong, Dr. Rodriguez explained. We assume something will break, so we prepare for it. The philosophical differences ran deeper than just technology. Humans seemed to expect problems and prepare for them. Galactic species had become used to technology that worked perfectly, making them vulnerable when it didn't. Dr. Keelan Voss made another disturbing discovery during her research. She found that humans were not just immune to nexus effects, they were actually energized by them. Your neural activity increases when exposed to reality distortions, she reported to the growing crowd of galactic scientists who had arrived to study the humans. Most species suffer psychological damage from these conditions. Humans seem to thrive on them. The implications were staggering. If humans could not only survive but actually perform better in regions that destroyed other ships, they could access parts of the galaxy that had been closed to exploration for millennia. Captain Chen understood the significance immediately. You're saying there might be other regions like the Void Nexus that we could explore safely? Several, confirmed Dr. Keelan Voss. There are dozens of forbidden zones scattered across the galaxy, places where ancient wars or cosmic disasters have left space-time permanently damaged. We've always assumed they were completely inaccessible. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent message from Galactic Headquarters. Admiral Kestrel 7's image appeared on the communication screen, her mechanical features showing unusual stress. Captain Thane, we have a situation. The Corvan military is demanding that the human vessel be quarantined immediately. They believe humans pose a significant security risk to galactic civilization. The Corvan concern was understandable from a military perspective. A species that could travel through forbidden regions, could potentially access restricted areas, bypass traditional defenses, and move through space in ways that made conventional military planning obsolete. Are we under arrest? Captain Chen asked calmly. Not yet, Admiral Kestrel 7 replied. But several council members are nervous about your capabilities. There's talk of restricting human movement until we better understand your species. Engineer Park looked around at the galactic crew members. Are you afraid of us? The question hung in the air uncomfortably. Captain Thane answered honestly, not afraid exactly, but concerned. Your abilities could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Some species are worried about what that might mean. Captain Chen stood up straighter, and for the first time, the galactic crew saw a hint of the steel that had allowed humans to survive in one of the galaxy's most dangerous regions. We didn't come here to threaten anyone. We came here to explore and learn. But we won't be prisoners either. Dr. Rodriguez added, our ship needs repairs and supplies. We'd like to visit some of your worlds and learn about galactic civilization. But if you're going to treat us as criminals for surviving something that would have killed you, maybe we should return to human space. The threat was subtle, but real. If humans left, the galaxy would lose the chance to study beings who could access the forbidden zones. But if they stayed under restrictions, it might create resentment that could lead to future conflicts. Captain Thane found himself in the middle of a situation that could determine the future relationship between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. The humans had proven they were peaceful and intelligent, but their unique abilities made some species nervous. As reports continued to flow back to galactic headquarters, the debate intensified. Scientists wanted to study humans extensively. Military leaders wanted to control or restrict them. Diplomats argued for full membership in the Galactic Council. The ancient Shapers, who had remained silent during the initial discovery, finally sent a representative to meet the humans. Elder Scythus Ra was over 5,000 years old, and her serpentine form commanded respect throughout the galaxy. She studied the three humans carefully before speaking in a voice like whispered wind. "We have been waiting for your kind for a very long time." The statement shocked everyone present, including the other galactic representatives. "Waiting for us?" Captain Chen asked. "How could you know about humans before we made contact?" Elder Sithis Ra's ancient eyes fixed on the human captain. "Because the ones who came before told us you would come." A human vessel appeared in a forbidden zone and no one knew how it got there. Elder Sithis Ra's words created stunned silence aboard the Quantum Dawn. The ancient Shaper had just revealed that someone had predicted humanity's arrival thousands of years before humans had even developed space flight. "What do you mean, the ones who came before?" Captain Chen asked, her voice steady despite the shocking revelation. The elderly Shaper's serpentine body coiled around her floating platform as she chose her words carefully. "The predecessors, the civilization that fought the war which created the Void Nexus and the other forbidden zones. They left messages for us before they disappeared. Instructions to wait for beings who could walk safely through the broken spaces they left behind." Dr. Keelan Voss stepped forward, her scientific excitement overriding diplomatic protocol. "You're saying the predecessors knew about humans specifically?" "Not humans specifically," Elder Scythus Ra corrected. "But they described a species with minds that could process contradiction without breaking. Beings who could adapt quickly to impossible conditions. They said such a species would eventually arise and find their way to the forbidden zones." Captain Thane had studied predecessor history extensively. The ancient civilization had been the most advanced the galaxy had ever seen, capable of technologies that modern galactic society could barely understand. Their sudden disappearance 10,000 years ago remained one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries. "The predecessors vanished completely," Thane said. "No one knows what happened to them or where they went." Elder Sithis Ra's ancient eyes glowed with hidden knowledge. "They didn't vanish. They transcended. But before they left, they hid their greatest achievements in the forbidden zones, places where reality itself was too dangerous for normal minds to survive. They were waiting for beings like your humans to discover them." Engineer Park looked confused. "But why hide technology in such dangerous places?" "Because they learned that advanced technology in the wrong hands could destroy galaxies," the Shaper replied. "The war that created the Void Nexus happened because someone tried to steal and misuse predecessor achievements. So they made sure their final gifts could only be accessed by species whose minds worked differently, species that couldn't be driven mad by impossible conditions." The implications hit everyone at once. The Void Nexus wasn't just a dangerous region of space created by an ancient war. It was a test, a lock that could only be opened by beings with the right kind of minds. Captain Chen exchanged glances with her two crew members. They had stumbled into something far bigger than a simple exploration mission. "What kind of achievements are we talking about?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. Elder Scythus Ra turned her attention to the human scientist. "Faster-than-light travel that doesn't require quantum manipulation. Energy sources that can power entire star systems. Defensive technologies that can protect worlds from cosmic disasters. Medical knowledge that can extend lifespans indefinitely." The list made the galactic representatives gasp. These were technologies that could revolutionize civilization. "And you think humans can access these because we can survive in the Nexus?" Captain Chen asked. "Not just survive, thrive." Dr. Keelan Voss's tests showed that humans become more creative and adaptive under stress. The predecessors designed their hiding places to enhance these exact qualities. Admiral Kestrel 7's image appeared on the communication screen again. Her mechanical features showed tension. "Elder Scythus Ra, the Council needs to know everything. If the humans can access predecessor technology, this changes everything about galactic security and policy." The ancient Shaper's response surprised everyone. The Council has known about the predecessor predictions for thousands of years. We Shapers have been keeping watch, waiting for the prophesied species to arrive. Now they have. Captain Thane felt like the universe was shifting around him. Secrets that had been hidden for millennia were suddenly being revealed because 3 humans had gotten lost in space. So what happens now? He asked. Elder Sithis Ra looked directly at Captain Chen. That depends on what the humans choose to do. The predecessors left detailed instructions for when this day came. The Forbidden Zones can be opened, but only with the cooperation of beings who can survive inside them. Captain Chen took a deep breath. Her simple exploration mission had become a decision that could affect the entire galaxy. What would opening the zones involve? Expeditions to each of the major forbidden regions. Human crews working with galactic scientists and historians. The systematic recovery of predecessor knowledge and technology. Dr. Rodriguez raised an important question. What about Earth? Our people don't know about any of this. We need to contact our government and explain what we've discovered. Of course, Elder Sithis Ra agreed. But you should know that the predecessors left messages specifically for your species as well. Instructions and warnings about the responsibilities that come with accessing their legacy. Engineer Park looked skeptical. How could they leave messages for humans? They disappeared before Earth even developed civilization. The predecessors could see far into the future. They knew that eventually a species with the right mental adaptations would evolve. They prepared for that possibility. The conversation was interrupted by another urgent communication from Galactic Headquarters. This time it was General Thorak Prime of the Corvan military, his red eyes blazing with concern. Admiral, we have reports that several other species are mobilizing fleets toward the Nexus region. News of the humans' abilities has created panic in some systems. There are fears that predecessor technology could upset the galactic balance of power. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. What had started as scientific curiosity was becoming a potential military crisis. Captain Chen made a quick decision. General, I'll make you a deal. Give us time to contact Earth and consult with our government. In return, we'll share anything we learn in the Forbidden Zones with all Council members equally. And if Earth decides not to cooperate? General Thorak Prime asked bluntly. Then you'll have to deal with that when it happens, Captain Chen replied calmly. But threatening us now won't help anyone. Dr. Keelan Voss stepped in diplomatically. The general raises valid concerns. But consider this. Humans have already proven they're peaceful and willing to share information. They could have kept their abilities secret or used them for their own advantage. Instead, they've been completely open with us. Elder Sithis Ra added her ancient voice to the discussion. The predecessors chose their tests wisely. Species capable of accessing their legacy are also likely to be responsible with it. The human's behavior so far supports this theory. Captain Thane found himself impressed by how Captain Chen was handling the pressure. She wasn't backing down from threats, but she wasn't being confrontational either. She was treating the situation like a complex negotiation where everyone needed to benefit. I propose we take this step by step, Captain Chen suggested. First, help us contact Earth so our government knows about the situation. Second, organize a small joint expedition to one of the smaller Forbidden Zones to see what we can learn. If that goes well, we can discuss larger operations. The proposal was reasonable, which made it hard for anyone to object strongly. Even General Thorak Prime couldn't argue against careful, supervised exploration. Admiral Kestrel 7 consulted with the other council leaders before responding. The council agrees to your proposal, Captain Chen. We'll help you establish contact with Earth and organize a preliminary expedition. But there will be conditions. What conditions? Captain Chen asked. The expedition will include representatives from all major galactic powers. Any discoveries will be shared equally among council members. And if Earth refuses to cooperate with galactic oversight, we reserve the right to restrict human access to the Forbidden Zones. It wasn't everything Captain Chen might have wanted, but it was fair under the circumstances. Agreed, she said. When do we start? Elder Sithis Ra's ancient eyes glowed with satisfaction. We start by contacting your homeworld and explaining to them that humanity has just become the most important species in the galaxy. The implications were staggering. 3 humans on a simple exploration mission had discovered that their species might hold the key to accessing the greatest technological treasures in galactic history. The question now was whether humanity was ready for such an enormous responsibility. As communication arrays began working to contact distant Earth, everyone aboard the Quantum Dawn realized they were witnessing the beginning of a new age. The galaxy was about to change forever, and it all depended on how well humans and galactic civilization could learn to trust each other. A human vessel appeared in a forbidden zone, and no one knew how it got there. The message reached Earth 3 weeks later, transmitted through a network of galactic communication relays that spanned thousands of light years. The response from Earth's United Space Command came back within hours, and Captain Chen's face showed a mixture of relief and concern as she read it. They want to send a diplomatic mission, she told the assembled galactic representatives, but they're also mobilizing the entire human fleet to defend Earth in case this is some kind of trick. Admiral Kestrel 7 understood the reaction completely, a reasonable response. Earth has no way to verify that we're telling the truth about galactic civilization or our intentions. The diplomatic complications were significant, but they paled beside the scientific excitement building throughout the galaxy. Dr. Keelan Voss had organized the largest xenological research project in galactic history, with scientists from dozens of species working to understand human psychology and physiology. We've identified 37 forbidden zones that might be accessible to human exploration, she reported during the daily briefings. Some are small regions created by weapons testing. Others are vast areas where entire star systems were warped by the predecessor war. Captain Thane had been working with galactic military planners to organize the first joint expedition. The target was a relatively small forbidden zone called the Paradox Fields, located only a few days' travel from their current position. It's perfect for a test mission, he explained to Captain Chen. Small enough to explore thoroughly, but significant enough to contain meaningful predecessor artifacts. The human captain had proven remarkably capable at managing the complex political situation. She worked with representatives from different species, balanced competing interests, and maintained Earth's position without creating unnecessary conflicts. The key thing is trust, she told Dr. Rodriguez during one of their private planning sessions. Everyone's afraid we'll either steal everything for ourselves or accidentally destroy something important. We need to prove we can work with them safely. Engineer Park had been studying galactic technology intensively, preparing for the challenges they might face in the paradox fields. Their equipment is incredibly advanced, she reported, but it's also fragile. Most of it stops working if exposed to the kind of reality distortions we found in the Nexus. The humans' primitive but robust technology was becoming increasingly valuable as the expedition took shape. Their instruments might be less sophisticated than galactic equivalents, but they could function under conditions that destroyed more advanced systems. Elder Scythus Ra had become something of a mentor to the human crew, sharing ancient knowledge about the predecessors and their mysterious legacy. The predecessor civilization was built on a single principle, she explained during one of their discussions. They believed that intelligence should adapt to the universe, not try to force the universe to adapt to intelligence. What does that mean practically? Captain Chen asked. Most galactic species try to control their environment completely. We build perfect ships, perfect worlds, perfect systems. The predecessors learned that perfection is brittle. When perfect systems encounter the unexpected, they break. Dr. Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully. That's why human technology works better in unstable conditions. We expect things to go wrong, so we prepare for it. Exactly. The predecessors predicted that a species with this mindset would eventually arise. They designed their tests to identify such beings. The first joint expedition launched 2 months after the initial discovery. The Quantum Dawn served as the command ship, with Captain Thane in overall charge. The human vessel Perseverance would provide specialized exploration capabilities. 3 other ships from different galactic species completed the task force. As they approached the paradox fields, the differences between human and galactic reactions became obvious. The galactic crews showed increasing stress as their instruments detected the familiar reality distortions. The humans remained calm and curious. Visual distortions beginning, reported Dr. Rodriguez from the Perseverance. We're seeing multiple overlapping images of the same stars. Space looks like it's folded in on itself. The galactic scientists monitoring from safe distance could barely function as the psychological pressure built. Their instruments worked perfectly, but their minds struggled to process the contradictory information. Captain Chen led the first exploration team into the heart of the paradox fields. What they found exceeded everyone's expectations. "There's a structure here," she reported over the communication system. "It looks like a space station, but it's built into the distorted space itself. The walls curve in impossible directions." The predecessor station was perfectly preserved, protected by the same forces that made the region deadly to normal galactic species. Human explorers moved through corridors that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The architecture is designed for minds that can handle contradictions, Engineer Park observed as they mapped the station. "Every room has multiple possible geometries. You see different layouts depending on how you think about them." The discoveries came rapidly. Predecessor computers that stored information in quantum paradoxes, manufacturing systems that could create materials with impossible properties. Most importantly, detailed records of predecessor history and philosophy. Dr. Keelan Voss studied the incoming data with growing amazement. "They didn't disappear," she announced to the expedition. "They evolved beyond physical existence. But they left their knowledge behind for species that could learn to think like them." The predecessor records contained detailed explanations of technologies that could revolutionize galactic civilization. Faster-than-light drives that worked by convincing space that distances were shorter than they actually were. Energy systems that drew power from the gaps between dimensions. Medical techniques that treated diseases by healing them in parallel realities. But the records also contained warnings. Advanced technology required advanced wisdom. Species that gained powerful capabilities without learning to use them responsibly had destroyed themselves throughout galactic history. The predecessors left these gifts, but they also left tests, Elder Sithasra explained as she studied the discovered records. Each forbidden zone contains progressively more advanced knowledge, but accessing it requires proving that a species can handle the responsibility. Captain Chen understood the implications immediately. They're not just testing whether we can survive in these places. They're testing whether we can work together responsibly. The first expedition was a complete success, but it raised as many questions as it answered. Earth's diplomatic mission finally arrived, led by Ambassador Maria Santos, who proved as capable as Captain Chen at managing complex negotiations. Earth's position is simple, Ambassador Santos explained to the full Galactic Council. "We'll share everything we discover, but we want equal partnership in all decisions. We won't be junior members who do the dangerous work while others make the choices." The demand was fair, but it represented a massive change in galactic politics. Humanity had gone from unknown to essential in less than 6 months. Some species embraced the change. The Etherians found human psychology fascinating and wanted to study it extensively. The scientific communities of dozens of worlds opened their doors to human researchers. Others remained suspicious. The Corvan military continued to worry about the strategic implications of human abilities. Several isolationist species wanted to limit human access to their territories, but the promise of predecessor technology proved too valuable to ignore. Over the following years, joint human galactic expeditions systematically explored the forbidden zones. Each discovery brought new capabilities and new challenges. Humans found themselves in a unique position. They were the only species that could safely access the most dangerous regions of space, but they needed galactic expertise to understand and apply what they found. "We've become the galaxy's skeleton key," Captain Chen observed during one of their planning meetings. "We can open doors that have been locked for millennia, but we need partners to help us understand what's behind those doors." The relationship wasn't always smooth. Cultural differences led to misunderstandings. Political pressures created tensions. Some expeditions failed due to poor coordination or unrealistic expectations, but gradually, a new kind of civilization began to emerge. Human adaptability combined with galactic knowledge. Primitive human reliability merged with advanced alien technology. Species that had never worked closely together found common ground in their shared excitement about predecessor discoveries. Dr. Rodriguez, now leading the largest xenoarchaeological project in galactic history, summed up the transformation during a scientific conference on Central Station. "We started as strangers who accidentally met in a dangerous place. We're becoming something new. Not just humans, not just galactic civilization, but a truly cooperative community working toward goals that none of us could achieve alone." Captain Chen, who had been promoted to admiral and now coordinated all human galactic exploration efforts, stood before the assembled representatives of 47 species. Thank you for watching and comment for next part.